Hi, everyone. It's both an honor and quite humbling, really, to be invited today. And as I reflect on what to share about the world of massage therapy, I've definitely been contemplating my own inspirations that have shaped my own career over the past 20 years. So if I rewind to where it all began, at the starting line of my own career, of where you are now, how I thought I would start my journey as a massage therapist was in no way an image of what it looks like today. I think at school I probably daydreamed more about being in a multidisciplinary clinic and having naturopaths and chiros and physios, and where I ended up was in an old sort of cave-like 164 square foot cavern of a linen closet tucked away, tucked very well away from street view in an aging hotel in the heart of the city. And I quickly realized that the love that I had for this work, helping people feel better, outweighed the appreciation of whatever my workspace happened to be. When I graduated, RMTs were almost at odds with each other over placements, and now the opportunity for new grads is, well, quite healthy, and that's a very good thing to see. Surely this abundance of opportunity is weighted in freedom as well as responsibility. The freedom to choose and, well, the responsibility to choose. So now that you have this choice, what is it that you will choose? I'm going to pose a few questions, and I think just in your mind's eye, for everyone in the room to just sort of think about the answers quietly to yourself. And you simply invite your quiet, simple reflection. As you enter into the massage therapy profession, how will you navigate as medical professionals the balance of compassionate care with the necessity of self-preservation? How can you pour your heart into healthcare without running on empty? And how do we artfully give without losing our own way in that giving? I like to imagine a healthcare practice is a lot like assembling a puzzle, where each piece represents a part of your experience, your clinical skill, compassion, purpose, boundaries, and rest. When we look to answer the previous questions, we're aiming long range at building a sustainable career. The reality is that as a profession, it does us no service to suffer from burnout. When we have long-standing members in good standing, we are better equipped to build on generational knowledge, research, and occupational wisdom, be it anecdotal or otherwise. So I think it's incredibly normal and healthy to feel as though you are puzzling your way through your practice, especially in these early years. The challenge is, I suppose, figuring out how it all fits without... That's good, it's resting. Oh gosh. Just figuring out how all the pieces fit together without forcing things. I think there's an artistry in your piecing of things together so that your own well-being isn't being left out of the frame. For some more than others, the balance between caring for our community, which is what we are doing as massage therapists, and caring for ourselves is full of tension, and I've spent my career being quite curious about this tension, about this balance. And it's in the realm of keeping a curious disposition that I think most of my bearings for inspiration have been birthed, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about that today. Now, I do love me some good massage therapy research, but we can also look to other areas of research to reflect research and improve for the betterment of our profession. So what does the research say about this character, or rather trait, of being curious? And how does that translate into our world of work? Well, it turns out curiosity, it's not just a personality trait. There's actual research in work settings, social settings, as well as medical settings. A 2024 publication entitled The Curious Physician, exploring the role of curiosity in professionalism, patient care, and well-being, breaks down doctors' interviews into 3 main categories. I promise this is not going to turn into some crazy lecture, but stay with me. The first category, curiosity's role in the development of professionalism and patient care. Certainly, the very nature of massage therapy puts us as healthcare practitioners in a good position with the time and the space to truly entertain our curiosity of the patient goals, preference for care, and clinical implications. But let's stay wary. I know you're going to want to ask about somebody's tattoo, or how their partner's doing, or even what they thought of the recent election. But that type of curiosity can be a distraction from the mindful work at hand, and there are lurking triggers that may sway away from our intended goals. In this study, doctors acknowledged multiple times that when healthcare providers exhibit genuine curiosity, patients will feel more comfortable, and this will always enhance outcomes. So of course, there are going to be months or moments or days or weeks where the motivation to stay curious may feel a bit more hidden. And that's normal, and we don't need to beat ourselves up about that. And I really just want to say his name, as Zig Ziglar used to say, motivation is like showering. It's useful, but it doesn't last. So you need to repeat it often. But I digress. The second category, or rather conclusion from these interviews, surrounded doctors' personal experiences and the cultivation of curiosity and their impact on their well-being. What is good to note, and I think it's been echoed a few times already, is that just as you evolve personally, as RMTs, what you're curious about today may not be what you're curious about tomorrow, but keep connecting with what does draw your curiosity over and over. Maybe it's the same injury that keeps landing on your table, or a certain technique that you can't help but obsess about. Let your curiosity come up for air, let it breathe, look around, and of course, keep taking note of what keeps your mind engaged as you curate your own professional inspirations. Many of the doctors in this study noted the protective power of curiosity, as well as the potential for curiosity to correlate with burnout. Is anybody counting how many times I'm going to say curiosity? It's going to be a lot. Oh, gosh. Yeah. So the study notes the protective power of curiosity, but also the correlation with burnout, which is curious. For example, so I'm curious and therefore engaged, or did I cage my curiosity? Did I limit my educational investments, or did I stop asking questions, or am I just doing the same thing over and over again? Did I cage that element of curiosity in my own spirit, and am I burnt out? I'm internally grateful for my own curious disposition and the surprising paths I've traveled as a result. I've definitely scratched my own itch for continued education that served me personally as well as professionally, whether that's been a yoga teacher training, Pilates bar, or breathwork training. I found immense personal growth and well-being through the commitment and the privilege of continuing my own education in a variety of subjects. It's that curiosity that has led me to obsess over certain modalities, develop my own nicheness and richness in my career. The third category of insight these doctors have surrounds learners' and teachers' perspective in the medical educational field. So for nurturing curiosity in the medical profession, doctors suggest exchanges both in formal settings such as training, conferences, or department meetings. Indeed, all of these elements translate equally as beneficial for the ongoing development of the career-focused massage therapist. When I was first graduated, what I was drawn to in terms of my own education is drastically different from what I pursue today. In 2004, I would never have crossed my mind that I could base my entire practice by palpating and treating people's tissues with my feet. So how do we integrate the best of our curious minds into our new career ahead? Or rather, how do we best flex your curiosity for an engaged practice? And as massage therapists, we're so lucky we get to build this trait both kinesthetically, so physically, mindfully, and for some, if not many of you, even spiritually. In my search for answers, I came across another paper titled "Killing the Cat: A Review of Curiosity at Work." And this got me a little bit curious about the expression "curiosity killed the cat" and where that might have come from. So bear with me here. After I did some Googling, it appears that this expression has nothing to do with the folklore of cats having 9 lives. And don't judge me based on the fact that I am referencing grammarmonster.com to tell you that this idiom can be traced back to the late 1600s, where the words "care killed the cat" first show up. Immediately, we can notice that it's not the word curiosity, but rather the word care, from a lineage of Old English that translates to meaning worry or concern. We don't immediately associate curiosity with the words care or worry, but upon reflection, it does seem to make sense. And what I appreciate about this deep dive into this particular historical query is that we do pay some homage to the dark side of curiosity, that we nurture the positive parts of our inquisitive minds without stumbling through our own confidence or stumbling through our own boundaries. The same paper suggests 4 types of curious dimensions, which sounds very hippie to me, but we'll go with it. So to support your upcoming massage therapy career, I invite you to explore what the research refers to as curious dimensions and see how they might inject a little joy, wisdom, and clarity as you move forward. The first curiosity dimension we'll explore is called deprivation sensitization. So I know that's a lot, believe me, it gets better. One more time, so deprivation sensitization. I promise you I'm not going to test you on the content later, unless some of you are like that and you want to test, then come see me later. This dimension is characterized by a strong desire to solve problems and fill knowledge gaps, but there can be a tension with that. While filling in our knowledge gaps can be productive, there can be so much unknown when it comes to health and medicine, especially in the area of massage therapy. While the drive to be knowing can be motivating, an overly strong arm can promote a stealing of our humility, be it intellectual or otherwise. So as RMTs, we really get good, and we are good at this open-ended exploration. In fact, I would say it just comes natural to us by way of the fact that you were interested in becoming a massage therapist. But we're not always going to have the validation of the latest research to guide us in best practice. There will naturally be gaps and uncertainty as you navigate the professional road ahead. Why can't I help somebody? Why can't I get more bookings? Why am I feeling this type of pain while I'm doing this sort of thing? Why can't I feel this? I invite you to curiously police this inner monologue to guide yourself towards simple solutions. The reality is that when we are fully present and authentically engaged with each greeting, conversation, and session, we expand our capacity for co-creating a body story for each treatment experience. When the instrumental nature of our professional exchanges is motivated versus dictated by curiosity, we can better share a moment of connection and discovery. We can see the dots and allow for natural connections versus creating connections out of the drive to make knowing assumptions and the idea that we, as healthcare providers, should know exactly what's going on. Okay, another dimension of curiosity at work, closely linked to the previous, is called stress and tolerance. Now, I'm pretty sure as RMTs, we know a little bit about this, but it doesn't make us immune to the potential experience of grief that might be linked. If our drive to know leads to overwhelm, it could trigger our own paralysis and make it tricky for productive decisions. So how many treatments is it going to take? Which techniques should I learn? How am I going to build a successful practice? When and should I start my own business? All of these questions are good to ask. But what if an answer doesn't come so easily to you? How do you respond? It was really my own curiosity that coached me to grow and expand my businesses. But in the process, I've made many, keep repeating that word, many mistakes. And if I'm being honest and fully transparent in this moment, I still feel that I continue to fumble through just as much failure as I do success. There is an instance in the history of my clinic before we expanded into what we are now, where we brought in aesthetic services. Now, I'm just sort of going with an anecdotal story here, but let me start by saying that there's nothing wrong with aesthetic services. But upon streaming these services under the SoreSpots umbrella, I quickly came to realize how important it was for me to stay grounded in what I'm here to do within the healthcare space. The aesthetic space wasn't successful for us, but it also just wasn't in alignment. We pivoted and reclaimed a vision to help support a person's internal sense of well-being, connect people more to their felt sense, relieve pain, and of course, relief for their sore spots too. It was my curiosity that propelled both the good decisions and, well, maybe I won't call them bad decisions, but maybe we'll just call them curious decisions. What I found helpful and grounding in this process is to get really intimate with what your own values are. Knowing where you stand and what you stand for can act as a guiding light to create ease and alignment in your own decision-making. The research states that curiosity thrives in endeavors that require individuals to cope with uncertainty, discomfort, and complexity, and there will certainly be ample amounts of that as you move forward. So how do we settle into the baseline of all of this and still keep our most positive working selves as the drivers to providing care and comfort to our patients? A third studied dimension of curiosity at work is, and I heard Jana briefly reference this, openness to people's ideas. This dimension examines a person's willingness to engage with and be influenced by diverse perspectives, by diverse backgrounds. Curiosity is also referred to as an investment trait, or a trait that guides when, where, and how people apply and invest their intelligence. There is an evidence that curiosity serves as a catalyst for socialization-related learning at work. So as RMTs, it's really easy to act as an island, to be an island. Even within the system of a clinic, you can go out and in with treatments and barely engage with the people around you. It serves the introvert well, and at face value, there's really nothing wrong with that. The long and the short of it is, though, with time, islands can be lonely. If you're on your own, perhaps similar to a sort of book club, find yourself a mentorship circle. If you're an island, give yourself a canoe and row ashore every so often so you can connect with your community. This can be easy to do within the context of a clinic, but it's still going to take some active organizing and communicating. Be the therapist that asks the other therapist how they would deal with a certain treatment scenario. Or the RMT who asks the other RMT for a treatment exchange, or tells the in-house physiotherapist that they would love their input on treatment ideas for a shared patient. And do this even if you think you are God's answer to the massage therapy world and know exactly what you were put on earth to do for this patient. You see, there's an economy to this type of connection, a vulnerability to ask, to seek, and be an open vessel to receive ideas, interests, and thoughts from the secret purveyors of wisdom around you. So for goodness sake, whenever you can, be interested and avoid being interesting. And I know that sounds odd, but that's our job as massage therapists. Finally, the fourth dimension of curiosity, let's aim peacefully for joyous exploration. This dimension in my mind says it all. When we fully flow into a continued state of curiosity that's balanced, measured, we will hopefully keep experiencing progress towards solving a problem, finding new elements of clarity, or simply playing gently in the state of not knowing. And in case it's not clear, it's more than okay to not know. Joyous exploration is meant to be a self-fulfilling cycle where our curious nature is in and of itself a reinforcing loop. When we are high, they say, on joyous exploring, we are more likely to feel enthusiastic, strong, and according to research commentary, vigorous. We'll take more responsibility for our own job crafting and feel less overwhelmed when confronted with the unknown. Early on in my career, I remember believing that we existed in a gray area of healthcare. And now I can tell you, I believe firmly that you are graduating at the intersection of evidence-based healthcare and holistic wellness. It's not just about movement, it's about momentum. Helping people move forward in life with less pain, more freedom, and perhaps more joyous exploration. And as you head into the professional realm of massage therapy, I want to offer you some practical but light advice straight from the pressure points of my own experience. So, number one, start slow and go deep. Whether it's a new job, a new client, or a new clinic, take your time to build your confidence. You don't have to know everything on day one, you just have to stay curious. Two, I heard Jen reference this, boundaries are your best friend, not just with clients, but with yourself. So create the space for the rest, the growth, and yes, the bathroom breaks in between sessions. Number three, market yourself with integrity. Your work is your reputation, and word of mouth is gold. Show up consistently with gratitude, grace, and of course, I'll say it again, curiosity. Number four, if you feel like you're starting on shaky ground, remember that could be your greatest asset. Remember and cherish these early weeks of your career. Keep the memory of how it feels to be a new massage therapist tucked away somewhere safe for easy retrieval at a later time in your career. To come to the table as an RMT officially, it's this beginner's mind that implores us to keep learning, to keep our minds open to the possibility of change. and bringing that beginner's mindset to session is truly one of your greatest assets. You never know when you're going to want to lean into that years from now. Number 5, there's only 2 more. Consider all elements of time and space as part of your treatment. Honoring silence is also part of our skill set, just as much as knowing when to check in. Honestly, presenting your treatment space, answering the phone, greeting, debriefing your client are all part of our technique. In fact, from my perspective, the moment someone books an appointment, we should aim to capitalize on all the finite possibilities of nurturing an experience and atmosphere that elicits a sense of care, compassion, and warmth. Finally, you're going to mess up. You might forget your lotion, misread an intake form, or accidentally, maybe you'll call like a scapula a spatula. Happens. Learn, live, laugh, love. I love this quote. Life is like riding a bike. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. My only edit here for the working massage therapist is to encourage you to search around every possible corner, every nook and cranny, every quiet moment of breath work, to search for something a bit more than movement, to research for joyous movement, joyous curiosity, and be an explorer of what feels good and right. The field is evolving and also, like a bike, still moving. The balance of technology, research, healthcare needs, they're all shifting, and the therapists who thrive aren't the ones with all the answers. They're the ones who keep asking questions, who keep a curious disposition as part of every treatment plan. So keep taking courses, stay snoopy and inquisitive about your favorite areas of research, and keep trading treatments and techniques with your community of massage therapists. Stay humble and stay open. And I also heard this, you don't have to be perfect. You really just have to be present. The reality is it's curiosity that helped you become a registered massage therapist. And it's this same curious version of yourself that you can rely on as you navigate what treatments may come. So, for this dear class of 2025, my wish for you is that you feel equally nurtured as you fill your time serving wellness in the world of massage therapy. That you find joy in joining your curiosity into your treatments, and that in 20 years' time, you look back with pride at the healing you've offered, the lives you've touched, and the growth that you've embraced, both in others and within yourself. May your hands or feet remain skilled, your hearts open, and your journey ever evolving. My most sincere congratulations and my warmest thanks for sharing your graduation day with me. Thank you.